The scandal over the editing of Trump's speech in the British broadcaster BBC's investigative journalism program Panorama continues, despite the resignation of the BBC's Director General and the head of the news division, as well as the broadcaster's apology for what happened. Many media outlets have published both the edited version and the original of the BBC documentary Trump, The Second Chance, produced in 2024.
We're going to walk down to the Capitol, and I'll be there with you, and we fight. We fight like hell, and if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
But in reality, Trump said,
we're going to walk down to the Capitol, and we're going to cheer on our brave senators and congressmen and women.
Fast forwarding to minute 54, Trump says,
and we fight. We fight like hell. And if you don't fight like hell, you're not going to have a country anymore.
Thus, it appears as if Trump, on the 6th of January, 2021, is calling on the gathered crowd to engage in violence.
We fight like hell.
The media always must quote accurately. However, it's fine to cut out long, rambling speeches or moments of hesitation. I'm starting now to explain how to show clearly how in the middle of something... Oh, sorry. I forgot about my phone. So, how to clearly show, for example, how to edit with a white transition. It looks like this when edited. How to clearly show, for example, how to edit with a white transition. Explain how to show clearly how to edit with a white transition. I'm starting now to explain how to show clearly how to edit with a white transition. This kind of editing is okay because the edit is obvious and the meaning hasn't changed. But in the Trump's example, it was edited like this. Clearly how in the middle of something...
The quote in this version was doctored, and that is of course unacceptable. This is exactly what happened with the Trump speech.
I'm starting now to explain how to show clearly. I forgot about my phone. The content's original meaning must never be changed. A journalist's job is to guarantee that public receives truthful and verified information.
The situation with the BBC is widely discussed in British society, especially because anyone in the UK who wants to watch any linear television must pay the license fee, which is currently £174.50 per year, to fund the BBC. At a recent conference organized by the Centre for Geopolitics at the University of Cambridge, the BBC was also mentioned, with emphasis on the fact that this broadcaster is the main pillar of Britain's soft power, as the BBC broadcasts in 43 languages and is listened to and watched by 418 million people worldwide every week.
Yes, the BBC is undoubtedly an important component of British soft power. The number of languages in which it broadcasts and posts news articles online into a reach that most other broadcasters in the world really couldn't dream of. So I think BBC News in particular was and is and will remain a very credible broadcaster. And I don't think that Trump's lawsuit is likely to change that, nor is it likely to damage the reputation.
But the reason why it's so serious is because BBC is having a higher threshold for what they can say in order to be trustworthy than most other medias in the world. And for them it's bad that Trump can say they're producing fake news, but the error itself was really small because it was just used to emphasize a point that everybody knew was right, that he actually did indirectly encourage the storm on the Congress or Capitol Hill. So in that way, it's stupidly done, and that's why they are so angry about it.
I mean, the BBC has been in trouble many times before. and they pull themselves out of it. And I mean, they're a pretty dynamic organization. I think a lot of people are annoyed by the basis for the trouble, which it's true it was bad editing on behalf of the BBC, but considering that the explanations that they've already given, which I think are convincing, it's actually not that serious. It's certainly not $1 billion serious. The consequences will probably not be good because at the very minimum it ends up taking a lot of time and anxiety and money and so on just to begin dealing with the problem, even if it's worked out, without court cases and without large payments and so on. But what I think is behind it all is that it's a piece of Trump's performance art. We've seen him use these sorts of techniques, in different ways. I mean, certainly when he gave Zelensky such a rough ride.
Other global events have somewhat overshadowed the BBC's Trump speech scandal, with the new budget becoming the main priority for the British public. Nevertheless, it is safe to say that the scandal will soon continue with renewed intensity.